I'm Cortney Boice.
I'm Derek Olthuis, and you're listening to Drop Jaw Podcast.
Boom!
What cracks me up is when I go out in the woods and a guy's got to hold on to a tree or sit across a log because he can't squat. Dude, the human body was meant to squat and craft. I mean, that's like our major function.
I wish I could sit down and have a conversation with the trout and go, "So, Mr. Trout, why do you like those worms so much?"
I mean, those big fish, like you said, they got big for a reason, and more often than not, you walk away with your tail tucked between your legs.
Oh, yeah.
And you just got to salute him.
I didn't make it, so it's just the way it is. So don't shoot the messenger. If you're a vegetarian, I'm sorry. We got here because we ate meat. That's just the way it is.
Stick 'em solid.
Welcome to the Drop Jaw Flies podcast. In this episode, we visit with two cool cats, Derek Olthuis and Cortney Boice of Blue Halo. Cortney was kind enough to let us crash his office for this visit. These guys give us an update on their media company, as well as upcoming epic trips to Canada and Iceland. Derek delivers on tips to catching monster browns, and Cortney explains the benefits of glass rods. If you're watching the video version of this podcast, be warned. You're going to see nauseating footage of just how gritty Cortney Boice is. If you like this podcast, please let us know. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, and our YouTube channel. I'm Chad Nelson, along with my co-host, Jason Arvey. Here is today's podcast.
Like you're on Tinder.
Perfect. Do they have video?
If they don't, they need it.
Famous guys.
Super.
In the fly fishing world right there. Yeah.
So these are busy guys. We appreciate them taking a few minutes to chat with us about fly fishing and their businesses. So we just want to get to know you guys a bit, and we have some questions for you too. So
Sweet.
let's start with Derek. For those listening, just give us a brief bio of what you do.
All right. I am a guide, and I do fly fishing media work with Cort. We do films for IF4, the film festival, and then I just started a company called Trout Academy, which does like instruction, classes, that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. About that, Derek, is that aside from the internet, do you actually teach people? Like you hook up with people and you meet and teach them the things that's on the Instagram page?
yeah, so this summer is going to be kind of the first installment, I guess, of that. The first time that I'm going to start doing that. But yeah, classes are going to be available, like personal instruction. I'm going to do some on-river classes that are free where people can come and just show up and have a good time, test out some rods, that kind of stuff. So.
That's very cool. I've been following that on Instagram from day one, and I love it. You know, as these guys know, I just got into fly fishing a year ago. I was a spinner guy.
Nothing wrong with it.
Well, I used to catch a lot of fish, but
Yeah.
No, he doesn't catch as many.
yeah, now it's not as many, but I'm catching bigger ones when I do catch them. So, and I like to hunt. I've been bow hunting for many, many years, and fly fishing to me is a lot like hunting fish. So, it's fun. But following your Trout Academy, I've learned a lot of fishing tactics and tips. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks.
It is awesome. Seriously, it's been good.
Yeah.
I think because there's nothing really out there like that. So there's, a lot of people, including myself, that I'm like learning about fishing.
Well, I think
Thank you, buddy.
Oh yeah.
Instead of buying like a fly fishing book where you have to spend all this time to get the important nuggets, yours is just bam, 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 and it only took like 10 minutes maybe to digest it, and
Yeah.
that's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of the hope, is that people can just filter through it and, you know, get something daily, like just a little chunk of good information.
Is this something you'd been thinking about for a while, or you just decided a few months ago, hey, I'm gonna start Trout Academy?
Yeah, it's something that I've been thinking about for a while, and to me the biggest thing is like our industry, fly fishing, just unfortunately has a mentality around it that it's like elitist, like people are kind of snobbish, and I just hate that. So to me, I just wanted to give something back where people could feel like there was an easy way to find information, and whether that means they're guys that have just got into the sport or guys that have been in the sport for a long time. Like I try and mix it up so that there's information available and interesting to any level of guy, and yeah.
Awesome. And I have to say, I was worried about that coming into fly fishing when Jason invited me to be part of Drop Jaw Flies. There is kind of that stigma that, hey, fly fishermen are kind of these elitist guys. You know, I like to eat fish once in a while, and sometimes that's frowned upon if you want to keep them.
Yeah, not to me.
Yeah, it's like survival when sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So your bio on Instagram, it's pretty cool. You got a lot on there. I think did I read author? Is that right?
Yeah. So I write occasionally for Fly Fusion magazine, and Court and I have done articles together for Revive, Fly Fusion. I did one for Catch. So yeah.
Cool. So you write too, Court?
No, I don't know how to write anything. I'm pretty dumb. I grew up in Idaho, so
Oh. Yeah.
well, you know, enough said.
Well, that's scary then. That's where I got my undergraduate degrees in Idaho. So
I know.
maybe that's why
It tells a lot about who you are. Now, I get it.
I've had to become a fisherman. So
The girls from Idaho are awesome, though.
The girls are awesome.
Yeah. Points.
Plug.
That's right.
that's for you, Heidi.
But how did you two meet? Because the stuff that you guys are doing now is just like the coolest, as far as I'm concerned. As far as the media, what you've got going there, and the way that you guys do your media and your films is super entertaining. But so for our viewers, like, how did you two come to be?
Tinder is where it started at first, and then
Now that doesn't get you points with your wife.
Is that a girl?
It's a dating app.
Who courted who? I was just wondering.
well, he liked my pictures. It's been a great blossoming relationship ever since then. No, we actually first met at IF4,
Yeah.
at one of the viewings at IF4, which is weird because we've always sort of been around the same people a little bit and all that. But yeah, that was our first. It's just after our 3-year anniversary.
Yeah, IF4's been. This is the 4th year, right?
Here, well, I don't know how long it's been going since.
I honestly don't know.
I think it could be 4 or 5 years. Yeah. Well, I don't know.
One of them has been going for a long time, hasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
F3T
F3T
has
has
been
been
going
for-
for 10
Yeah.
plus years.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, they just had
Yeah.
their 10th anniversary this year or last year or whatever. Yeah, this year. So yeah.
So you got together that way, and then figured out that you catch huge fish. You love to go to killer places and document it all. what are we going to see in the future? Like, where is this going?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
We actually just broke up last
Yeah.
week, so
we're
it's kind
we're
of
on the
awkward.
rocks here. This year we're going to Iceland in June. So we're going to be fishing for Arctic char and brown trout, and the hope is to catch something big, like really big.
And we are not jealous about that at all.
No.
I mean, we
You
don't
really
care.
should.
at
You
all.
don't need
Yeah.
to be because you guys already catch enormous brown trout. So
Yeah.
we have to go to other countries to do that.
So instead of Arctic unicorns, now it's the Arctic elephant
Yeah,
that you're going for.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I hear Iceland has some big browns.
Yeah. There's two guys that are taking us around. They run Fish Partner, and they guided a client into a 30-pound brown last year.
goodness.
So
Holy smokes.
40-inch, 30 pounds.
Wow.
40
Can
inch.
you even imagine?
Did you guys see the picture of this fish?
Yeah.
Was it totally colored or was it more silvery? I'm curious to.
it was kind of yellowy. It wasn't like super silvered out, but it
Had some
wasn't-
color?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna book our trip.
You're looking for caddies, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, of course.
Rod caddies.
Seriously,
I
pay
need
someone
size
to carry all
5.
that camera
Right, here you
equipment.
go.
That is so funny you said that because the first time I fished with these guys, we get out of the car and we get all geared up and everything, and I look at both of them and they have killer cameras on tripods, both of them. And I was thinking, I'm glad I'm not carrying that. but you guys do, like you carry around a ton of equipment.
Every day.
It's
Every
terrible.
day.
Yeah, like the left side of my body is like way stronger because the camera like hangs on that. For like 12 hours you have to like compensate.
You know all about compensating.
Yeah, big time.
Edit.
Well, one of my buddies, he runs a podcast, and he's the Gritty Bowman. So he has an awesome hunting podcast. He makes movies, and I did last 2 years, a 7-day elk hunt, 10-day bear hunt with him in Alaska, and carrying all of his camera gear. It's like, holy smokes, we've got our packs and our tents, everything on our backs, and camera in this hand, bow in this hand, and you're going up the mountain. It takes a lot of effort and dedication to carry all that camera gear. But if you want good footage, the good shots, you got to do it.
Yeah. Last year I did the Wind Rivers 3 times, and hiking into the winds with a lot of camera gear is not fun. It is terrible. I mean, but that's, like you said, that's what you got to do.
Yeah. Well, you guys get awesome pictures. So
Thanks.
Thank you.
Gordon, do you ever go sense like if Derek's fishing that something big's gonna happen right now? So I better turn on the record, or does that not
Yeah.
happen and you're just recording all the time?
No, that's every time I go with him. That's why I don't even take my rod. I just take my camera stuff because it's just time to sit back and learn and watch because something good is gonna happen. A big fish is about to be caught, or not.
Or not.
It's either that or the exact opposite.
Either we catch a big one or we just end up filming all day of nothing.
Yeah.
Oh
That probably
man.
happens more.
So your video, Arctic Unicorns, which I saw, awesome video.
Thank you.
How many hours of footage would you say you got to make that movie? And what was that, a 15, 20 minute movie?
Yeah, 15. Yeah, it's about 15 minutes.
We have probably
We had like 4 terabytes of info.
we have at least 20 hours of footage.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot.
20 hours.
Yeah,
Wow.
a lot.
That is
Yeah.
a ton.
And how many different cameras were used in that trip?
4 or 5. You had your Nikon, I had my Canon. You had your GH4, I had my GH4, and Phil had his Canon. So not including the like GoPros and all that stuff. We had five cameras.
Wow.
Not at the same time, just like
Here and there.
Usually 2 at the same time.
Was there anything that happened that you guys were not able to get on film? Like all of a sudden a bear came out and you were like, oh, where's my camera? And then you couldn't.
that did happen. Yeah, that happened a couple times because some stuff happens so fast that you just can't get it up fast enough.
Edit.
I'm trying to think. I don't know anything specifically though that happened that we didn't. Well, no, yeah. The first fish that we caught, we never got on film. The one that there was like an eat, a pass the rod over, take it under some trees, jump around, like go over a tree, you know, like it was. And Derek was stuck against the log jam, like getting pushed against that, trying to net it, and yeah, that wasn't on film.
Oh, dang it.
Because I wasn't there.
Well, still, that was an awesome video. So your media company, what's the name of your media company?
Western Waters Media.
And what's the goal of Western Waters Media? Obviously to make films and then film festivals or sell the videos, or what's the goal?
That's a fine question, because we've wondered that same thing.
Or just kind of a journal of your...
Well, we originally
expedition?
started it, yeah, just to start doing some film for IF4, but then have since, like the Down the Hatch edit for Orvis for their rendezvous. We've done stuff for that, and it's just it's sort of evolving because we have so much media now, photos and video, that a lot of people, want it. And so, magazines and a lot of stuff. People just are kind of seeking us out now, just because of our quality. I guess is getting a little bit better now, just because we are a bunch of hacks, but we can
Good hacks.
sometimes put some stuff together.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
But a question for both of you. I mean, to where you are now. But let's go back to the beginning, and I'll ask both of you, why fly fishing? Why are you here right now? I mean, what got you here?
Well, I know for me, I grew up in Montana on a lake, and from the time I was like 3 years old, my dad said I would just pester him about getting a pole. And so he just would set me out on the dock with a life jacket and a little like Snoopy pole or something.
Sweet.
So I just started catching bluegill and bass and perch, that kind of thing. And when I was 8, we went to visit my uncle who lived in Bozeman, and he was a commercial tire for an Orvis store and had tons of fly rods and gear. And he sent me out with my brother and his son on the Galton for a day. And I just, ever since then, like I was already obsessed with fishing, but I just switched to fly fishing. And I've just never ever wanted to do anything else, really. Fly fishing has been it.
Wow.
Awesome.
That is awesome. And for maybe those of you who don't know or have not been on Derek's Instagram page, you've got to go there to check out some ridiculously big fish. Bull trout, cutties, browns, rainbows, got it all on there.
Yeah.
So, kind of moved away from bluegill a little bit. Now, pictures are like this.
Now his fish eat bluegill.
Yeah.
So what about you, Courtney? Why fly fishing?
I don't really know. I've always loved fishing when I was little, but I never really knew anyone that fly fished. In Idaho, my brothers did it, but at that time I was kayaking and doing snowboarding and climbing and biking, and I had so many other things that every time I was in the water I wanted to either be, in a kayak or whatever. So they'd always try to get me to go, but I'd be like, no, dude, I don't want to do that. So, but then when I got down here to Utah, I didn't know anyone that fly fished, and I wanted, I started to gravitate to that. Like I wanted to do it. I wanted to start doing it, but so I got some stuff, and I didn't end up even really catching a fish for like probably almost a year because I didn't know what to do. You know, like it was hard, but I just kept going, and then finally I figured out how to catch a fish, and then that was awesome. And then just kind of, you know, has blossomed since then.
Sweet. Well, it must have blossomed a lot because for those of you who may not know, Cortney has this the Blue Halo fly rod company, and it's probably so much more than fly rods now, but the fly rods are fiberglass, and like we always say, they're not your grandpa's fiberglass. They are high tech and super cool. So check those out too. Blue Halo gear. Plug for Blue Halo.
So Derek, on your Instagram page, you post pictures of massive brown trout, and some of them are at night. You go night fishing. I wanted to ask you about that. I've never gone fishing at night, but what's the advantages of fishing at night, and what's maybe different about it, if anything?
The biggest difference is you can just sneak onto the golf course pond unnoticed. Catch bluegill. That's only bluegill. No, I mean, the biggest difference is brown trout, people might not know, are primarily a nocturnal fish. Their eyesight is different than any other trout. They have more rods and cones, and they're just able to pick up things better in low light. And so research has shown that they are much more successful feeding at night than another trout would be, which kind of gives them the advantage being a predatory fish. So they'll prey on other rainbows, whitefish, heavily on mice, you know, anything that's really available. So the benefit of that is, since they're such a wary fish during the day, they really don't like coming out in bright sunlight and stuff like that. You can target them when they're actually feeding, hunting, really seeking out bigger prey.
Cool.
So I don't swim at night, man.
Yeah, it's
Too
dangerous.
scary. I'm not skinny dipping at the golf course, Riverside Golf Course. That's dangerous. I wouldn't do it.
Not recommended. Not recommended.
So my follow-up question then is, what are the GPS coordinates to where you're catching those?
For the world to know.
You know, there actually are probably more places than people realize to catch big browns. Anything from big bodies of water, you know, like Jordanelle has some big fish in it. Smaller rivers and streams around Utah, small ponds. I mean, there are big fish almost anywhere where there's a food source that can get them big. So
Cool. Since we're kind of on this fishing topic, let's ask a question to both of you too. Hypothetical. You plan this trip to a river that has big fish, but you've never fished it before, and you're going to use streamers. How do you approach it? Just for maybe our viewers can learn something here.
Just throw those streamers in there and strip them through.
You know, I knew you were going to say that because that's how I do it.
Yeah.
I just go there and throw them in.
Is there any other way to catch fish? Or you gotta throw them in.
I know you guys just target big fish because with the drop jaws, those things only catch big fish. So yeah, I mean, really, that's...
Well, usually, yesterday, the only ones we caught were about 16, 18 inches. So we didn't see any big fish either, though, but they still took the drop jaw.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have to.
Well, I know, like for me, when I'm going to somewhere new, I'm going to target a big fish. I want to sight fish it. I want to see it.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm just going to, plan on walking a lot, covering a lot of ground, and just searching the water, looking, scanning for that big fish, and always looking for places that are good ambush sites, somewhere where a fish can sit and be lazy, because I mean a big fish is inherently a lazy fish. They want to get the most amount of food the easiest way possible. I mean, they're essentially a dude sitting on his couch at home pounding potato chips, that kind of thing, you know. They're not the guy that's growing his own garden, like physically fit kind of thing. So I mean, really, I'm looking for like down logs or a big back eddy slough type area, somewhere that has like an undercut bank, somewhere where a fish can dart out, grab an easy meal, and then sit there the rest of the day out of the main current, so it's not working.
Google Earth helps a lot too, because you can kind of do an aerial, and a lot of bends and deeper holes and stuff like that will hold the bigger fish. And so yeah, if you've got that info, and then you can also take that tonight, you know, if you go and scope out areas and you don't have success, you can always go back at night and there's a pretty good chance that it might happen, you know.
You actually want to do that when you're night fishing. Go out, scan the water during the day, get a feel for it, because at night you're going to be tripping around. You want to mark spots that you want to hit, because you're not going to want to be putting your headlamp in the light looking for fish. I mean, obviously you're going to scare fish that way. So, you know, you really want to kind of memorize a few of the holes that you're fishing to, like where's that log sitting in the hole, so you don't lose a bunch of streamers at night. So
Yeah.
kind of goes hand in hand.
Smart. Good tips.
Super good. Yeah.
So, favorite fish to fish for, Courtney?
That's really hard because I don't really know. I don't really know. I don't really have a favorite fish. I think maybe, I don't know, cutthroat maybe. But I just love predatory fish, you know? Like I love to watch something come and try to kill what I've got, you know?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's what I like. But I love like every type of fish. I love catching any fish is awesome.
Is it because sometimes, like those predatory fish, it's a harder hit? Is that part of it?
Yeah, I like that. I love to watch them chase streamers and come and slam streamers, or, you know, to go out of their way to kill what you've got.
Yeah.
Your presentation.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What about you?
I'm kind of the same. It doesn't matter to me if it's a brown trout, a bull trout, a big brook trout, I mean a Bonneville cutthroat, whatever it is, I want to see that aggressive side of trout. Like, it's cool to see a trout rise to a dry fly. It's a whole nother ball game to see a trout swing out from underneath an undercut bank and just crush your fly. I mean, that's it.
Yeah, I know he has a favorite though. He loves rainbow trout. If you had one trout, that's your favorite, right?
Yeah, probably. I mean,
Rainbows?
the cool thing about rainbows is, I mean, I love char, I love bull trout, all that stuff, but if I could only pick one fish, it would probably be a rainbow, for the simple reason that they're so diverse. I mean, you got steelhead, you got rainbows that live in teeny little streams, rainbows that live in lakes that get enormous. So there's just such a variety, but
Yeah. Rainbow reminds me, like, if you could equate that personality to a human personality, like to a super strong blonde that you just taser. Just, when you catch them, they're just, yeah, this is awesome, yeah. Just that hookup, just, that's it, man, I'm done. Just chuck your rod in the water. But for me, I love rainbow. Any trout, I love them. But I mean, rainbows are. Would you say like maybe the fastest trout, maybe the hardest pulling, maybe? I don't know. But each one is. Even fish within a species have different personalities, you know.
I thought rainbows were probably the hardest fighting trout, or char, until we caught the Arctic char, not the dollies. The dollies fought harder than, pound for pound than the little dollies that most guys catch in Alaska, but the Arctic char were insane. I mean, like a 16-inch Arctic char on an 8-weight would take you into your backing twice.
Wow.
It was impressive.
Is that maybe because they've never, like, they don't get fished for really in their lives? Really, I mean, and the people that do catch them it's probably rare, right? There's just not a lot of people up there.
Yeah.
Would that be why, or is it just their
Cold
genes?
water, I don't know. I mean, they're just always in cold water. Some of them are sea-run.
It's got to be something to do with the cold water, because those brookies were the same kind of way. Those brookies would freak out. Water was super cold, but I don't
Sounds
know.
like we better go experience it.
Yeah.
So,
We're going again to Fortress Lake.
Yeah.
Food for thought.
Click on this link.
That's 4
Now,
hours
right?
from my hometown.
do you guys, are you putting a trip together for, like, people to come? Do you need people to fill spots? Or?
Yeah, we have spots available. We're going August 22nd to the 26th, and then the 26th to the 29th. So Court and I are going to stay there, and the helicopter's going to fly out, pick out the next group, drop the other guys off. So
What would that cost and entail for somebody that wants to go?
it's about $2,500 US right now with the exchange rate. It's kind of switching, but that's like the helicopter flight, food, lodging, semi-guided. We're going to spend time with everyone and take pictures. So
Cool.
yeah.
Food, everything's included.
Yep.
So you say helicopter, is there no roads into Fortress?
No.
There's not. The helicopter ride's like probably one of the coolest things, because it's like it's over an hour long, I think, and you're just flying through, over the most beautiful stuff.
Is that out of
ever.
Calgary or where?
Out of Hinton, right over by Jasper. So you actually fly right over top of Jasper into BC and just get dropped off there.
Sweet.
That's beautiful country.
And those dates were, again, August 22nd,
To the 26th, 26th to the 29th.
9th.
Yep.
Book your trip! That'd be a lot of fun. I don't know what we're doing in August. I think we're going
I
to
think
Fortress
we're going to
Lake, right?
Fortress.
Yeah.
You're doing
Oh yeah,
that
that's what we're doing.
Oh,
Well-
man.
Okay, so we gotta have a funny story. I mean, super funny. Like, don't hold back, man.
What we think is funny will probably be a little bit different.
Yeah.
So when we filmed our first film together, Distracted, for IF4, we were up at Strawberry Reservoir and we're fishing for cuts, and Court was just sick as can be, and he's had diarrhea all day. He's running over the hill to go do his business.
We're not
And-
editing that one.
Yeah.
Oh, great. We can actually edit the clips in, so.
We're
Awesome.
we're filming, and Court just all of a sudden is like, "Oh, I am just sick." So I'm scrambling to grab his camera, and he's got the GoPro already filming, doing some stuff, and he just throws up. He's got his beard. Throw up is coming out of his nose. It's dripping out of his beard.
That's horrible.
And we got it all on film, but Phil and Spencer are too classy to put that in, and they told us no. Adamantly said no.
I wanted it to be like my profile, like, it's like showing Derek, and he's like stroking his long mane of hair, and then me like throwing up and like pausing and be like, Cortney Boice. That's what I want.
Pretty.
And that was back when you had your ultra mega uber beard.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, man.
Well, that shows the dedication to getting the footage that you got.
That totally was what it was too. I was totally sick, and I knew that. And I'm like, dude, like I can either be home and be sick or be fishing and be sick. So let's just go fishing. It's way better.
Yeah. Man.
That's funny. So one question for you guys I wanted to ask. related to gear. So maybe guys thinking about getting into fly fishing, maybe guys that are already fishing on a budget. When it comes to rod, reel, and line, is one piece of those more important than the others? And if you're going to start with one piece, maybe splurge a little more on one. What, in your opinion, is the best bang for the buck?
That's a good question.
That is a good question. You know, for the average guy, a reel probably is less important because they're fishing for trout that are 12 inches and they're not ever going to test their drag on that.
Yes.
So I'm going to go with a rod because lines, you can find inexpensive lines out there. I know Cort sells lines for like $35, but for me, if I'm going to spend $150 on a mediocre rod and $300 up to $500, $600, $700 on a good rod with a lifetime warranty, I'm going to opt to get the better rod. You know, the $150 rod might last them a couple seasons and then they have to replace it, whereas that $300 and up rod is going to last 20 years. You know, I've got rod, I still have my first rod and it's still kicking. So
Sweet. Good.
I don't really know. To me, I think it sort of depends on what you're fishing for. Because if you're just going to be fishing panfish or like smaller fish, then it's bad for me to say this because I own a rod company, but I don't think it really matters that much like what you have, because it all kind of does the same thing, you know. A cheaper rod may break a little easier and may not have a warranty on it, but then you can just go grab another one. But some people, you know, after they kind of know and they know what they like and what they feel, and maybe they'll have the desire to go get something a little bit better and something a little nicer, something that maybe has a lifetime warranty that will get replaced over time. And that's kind of, you know, that's kind of what we do with our rods, is we hope that people with fiberglass, it is so much stronger, they just are more durable than graphite, so their life cycle is a little bit longer, and so it's a good way to go to do fiberglass. And that's kind of what we hope, is that people will get a rod and that they'll have it for a long time and fish it a lot. But yeah, as far as line and stuff, you know, I don't even know. I think more importantly than any of that is like tippet, having like a good tippet where your fish aren't going to break off. Because if you've got a sweet rod and you got a sweet line and sweet reel, but your tippet sucks or it's not strong enough or whatever, or your leader, then you're not going to land that fish, you know. So I think that's.
What if you could get tippet that was 100-pound breaking strength, but was just 2x or 9x? Wouldn't that be awesome? Like you could barely see it, and you could just.
now we're talking.
Why don't we design that?
You should invent that.
Yeah.
When I go home tonight, I'm gonna tie a fly because I just don't have. It's just not here. But if it was, I'd have that. So
That would be. Yeah, we experienced that yesterday. We hiked in. We were a little unprepared. Well, so we left the truck and we're like, we're just gonna go fish right here. We ended up going a mile, and we didn't take our packs or anything because we weren't planning on going. And we had a little too big a tippet for some of these fish we were chasing. I think they saw it, but I mean,
they did.
they did.
In a river or like in still water?
Still
No,
water.
it was still water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to learn. We end up doing that every time. We end up going 2 miles, 3 miles.
Why is that? Like you'll go to a spot where you'd plan to go, but then you look around the corner or you see something up ahead and you're like, should I go back and get some stuff? And then you see a fish rise and you're like, screw that. And then
Grass
you end
is
up
always greener.
half the way around. Yeah.
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 I think all fly fishermen, all hunters have that in them.
Yeah.
Where you walk around the whole lake, and then when you get back and you're starving and you're
Yeah, your
thirsty.
lips are like cracking because you haven't drank anything.
Yeah.
You're sunburnt. but it's all good.
Yeah, you go 3 miles in your waders and you're just sweaty as sweaty can be. It's like you just fell in the lake.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's another story.
Yes.
Hiking from the parking lot in Yellowstone to Slough Creek in your waders. Yeah, you develop some sweat.
Oh,
And some other things.
and some other
associated
things.
with that.
Chafe. Yeah.
But, well, I don't know how much time we have left, but before we end this, I just educationally or for purposes related to that, what is the most important thing to catching someone's biggest trout?
To me, first and foremost is a good pair of sunglasses. To me, I don't think there's another piece of gear out there that's more important. If you're just fishing, just blindly casting, you're gonna target every fish in the river. And if there's 10,000 fish that you walk by and cast to in a day, of those 10,000 there might be one that's a monster, and if you don't have glasses you're never going to see them. Whereas with a good pair of glasses, you walk up until you find the specific fish you're looking for, hoping to catch, and then you can park on that fish for 2-3 hours as long as it doesn't spook until you catch it. You can observe it, you can watch what it's doing, how it's reacting, feeding, all that, and change tactics. But without glasses, just makes it impossible.
Good point.
Yeah, super good point.
What are 2 or 3 of your favorite pair of glasses?
My first and foremost glasses that I always go to are a pair of Smiths. They make polar chromatic, so they change in the light, and obviously the polarized glasses just cut the glare, so that's huge.
Do you still look cool in them?
Well, I don't really look that cool ever, so but most people do.
Remember when polarized glasses first came out and they were these
They had
giant things like
The second little lens on the side.
yeah, that's right, like the window lens, like your eye could go over there.
They look like you just went to the eye doctor and he gave you those glasses for dilated pupils.
Yes.
Some of my early fish pictures, they're with these giant glasses. They're good. I mean, my kids laugh their heads off.
Yeah.
Well, we got caught in a storm yesterday, and Jason pulls out his ski goggles.
Yeah.
He was,
Yep.
but they work.
Oh,
They
love
sure
those.
do.
In a storm?
His face was warmer than mine.
Yeah.
I wish I had those the other day. I was like, I had them out specifically to take them, and I never had them. I was like, dude, I wish I had those so bad.
Well,
But I didn't.
when you don't have them and the wind's blowing around your glasses and you get done with the trip and you look in the rear view and you look like Darth Vader or something. But with goggles, it's just, he just smiles, the wind's blowing. It's nice. And they look cool.
They do.
Raccoon eyes too after that.
He looked like a fishing ninja. He looked really cool.
Wow.
So what about you, Court? One tip you would suggest to guys to help them catch the big fish?
Use a blue halo rod. I mean, that's one.
That actually, yeah, I do think that. I think with fiberglass rods, they bend a lot more, and I personally think that you do keep more fish if you can hook a fish on fiberglass, just because the rod works with you. The other thing that I think is you need to be comfortable. Like if you are super hot or super cold, your body can't last as long, and so I think just gear, like keeping your body regulated, your temperatures and stuff like that, because that can, it can make you dehydrated faster, and it can, whatever. But I think that if you don't have good waders to keep you warm and dry, or just the right gear, you can stay out longer and fish longer and catch more fish. I think just because you're able to concentrate more on the task at hand instead of getting distracted with that stuff.
So true, because if you can't last, say you were going to catch a huge fish in the next 30 minutes, but all of a sudden you were about to get frostbite or something and you had to quit, then it's game over and you don't get that fish. So great point.
Could not agree more. And we could do a whole podcast on that. I think all of us have spent enough time outdoors that we know sore feet, if you're sore, you're hungry, you're cold, you're wet, it totally affects not only your performance, but how much you enjoy the outing, right?
Totally.
So, good tip. Jason, any closing words?
Nah, I hope that August 22nd to the 26th works out for us. I'm going to be saving pennies to make it happen. But no, check out Trout Academy. It's at Trout Academy and on Instagram. And probably, seriously, for the coolest fiberglass rods, you check out at Blue Halo Gear. And look at all their cool pictures. These two are not only awesome fishermen, but they take, no joke, man, the coolest pictures that are out there. So check them out. It was way fun to spend time with you guys, and hopefully we'll do this again.
Thanks for having
Like
us.
100 times.
Appreciate your time. Awesome.
All right, friends, thanks for listening to the Drop Jaw Flies podcast. We'd love to hear your feedback. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, or our website, www.dropjawflies.com. Please subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, or our YouTube channel. Now get out there and hook a big one and stick 'em solid.